Greetings, Guzzlers. Bloody hell. Need this tonight. That's the microwave. I'm just cooking some rice. Okay, I'm making got some jasmine rice cooking because we're going Korean, and it's basically a type of mixed rice. It's a Korean. What have I done? A Korean dish called Bibimbap. I think that's how you pronounce it. Bibimbap. And basically, it's a type of, like I say, a type of mixed rice. So we need some rice. I've got some jasmine rice cooking. You want enough? Well, each person's going to need some rice. Okay, and then we've got a variety of other things. First thing I'm going to do though is I've got some steak here, and I'm just going to slice this thinly into strips, and I'm going to chuck it in this bowl. So I'm going to get this all cut, and then I'll tell you what marinade ingredients you're going to want. So I've got my beef in there, and now what I'm going to add there is about a tablespoon of soy sauce. I've got 10 grams of sugar, any old sugar is up there, break that in a minute. I've got 5 grams of sesame oil, I'm using toasted. And then I want some garlic in there. I've got about 3 cloves of garlic, and I'm just going to crush that in there. And I'm going to be wanting the garlic pressed a little bit later on, so I'll just keep that there. And then all I'm going to do, that's a big old lump of sugar, don't want to break up. I'm just going to massage this together, hence we've got the running. Alright? And then we're just going to put that to one side to absorb them flavours. Now we will be cooking this beef, obviously. Okay, but before we get around to doing any of the cooking, apart from the rice, because obviously that takes longer, what I'm going to do is we're going to start preparing the other ingredients, because bibim is actually written as if it's bibim, if you like, but it's bibim. That means mixed, and bap in Korean means rice, hence it's a mixed rice dish. Right, so that's the beef marinated. That's me starting to marinate. So next we're going to make our sauce, okay, our bibimbap sauce. Okay, now for that I've got quite a lot, a couple of tablespoons of Korean red pepper flakes. Okay, in they go, there's a few seeds in there as well. And then to that I'm going to add about 15 grams of mirin. Now if you haven't got any mirin, you can use sugar. Then I've got some sesame oil again. I've got 5 grams of that toasted sesame oil, in that goes. And then I've got some 10 grams of rice vinegar, in that goes. And then I've got 15 grams or 15 mils of water, in that goes. And then I've got about another 3 or so cloves of garlic, and we're just going to crush, get in there, crush that in there. And again, I'm going to need that in a bit. And then all I'm going to do is I'm just going to mix all that together. Okay. And we're just going to set that to one side. So there's essentially 5 base components to this. Okay, you've got your bap, your cooked rice. Okay, that's just finished cooking. Okay, you've got your marinated protein, which is me beef, but you could have tofu if you don't eat meat. Okay, or anything like that. It's just some form of marinated protein. We're going to make some vegetable sides, which actually goes with it. When we say sides, it's actually part of it. Then there's the Bibimbap sauce, which we've just made here. And then finally, a runny egg yolk. So a fried egg, but runny. So I'm just going to put that to one side, clear that, and we'll get on to our next basic component. Actually, I forgot. You also grate in to that sauce a generous amount of fresh ginger. Okay, I forgot because I thought I had some in the freezer and then realised I didn't have, and then remembered I bought some fresh ready to freeze. So remember, it's a lot easier to do this, although this is grating okay. Bar job lot, shove it in the freezer, and then it is very easy just to whip out the freezer and grate it, and it grates a lot easier when it's frozen. Well, that fresh one is doing alright. So I'm just going to get that mixed in. Now our next thing we're going to do is we've got some carrots. I've got 2 carrots here, and what I want to do with them is I want to julienne them, and you're going to want another bowl. Once you've done that, shove them into the bowl, and then we've got a sort of pickling sauce, if you like, that we're going to make with it. Not really going to get a chance to really pickle it properly. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get these carrots, like I say, sliced up julienne style. I suppose if you've got a mandolin or something like that, you can do it. Might find it easier to do it that way. I have. I can't be asked to get it out. It's buried in a cupboard somewhere. So, catch you when I've julienned the carrots. So, there's my carrots julienned. I'll add a pinch of salt. And then I've got about a teaspoon of the red pepper flakes again. In they go. I've got a teaspoon of sesame seeds. Now you can toast these if you like, but I'm not bothering. And then I've got 15 grams of rice wine vinegar. In that goes. And then I've got the same again, 15 grams of soy sauce. In that goes. And then what I'm going to do, I'll put a glove on. I'll put a glove on for this, and I'm just going to massage all this together. Okay, this is our one of our sort of vegetable sides. Now you can give the carrots a little bit of a squash, give them a bit of a bruising, as it were. Okay, get that nicely all massaged together. So, like I say, we've got 5 base layers, but when it comes to the vegetable ones, you can have multiple vegetable ones under that vegetable base layer. Pardon me. So actually this is a sort of traditional dish. It's served, like I say, on a bowl. We're going to do it on plates, it's just easier, of warm white rice, topped with, like we say, sautéed and seasoned vegetables, which we're doing here. Namul. Well, I don't know how you pronounce it, but namul. Or you can have kimchi, which is a traditional fermented vegetable dish. With some form of chili pepper paste, which we've got there. Can't pronounce that word. Gochujang or something, or gochujang or something, I don't know. Soy sauce or a fermented soybean paste, which again I can't pronounce that one. A raw or fried egg on top. We're having fried, and some sliced meat, usually beef, which is of course over there marinating. And then we serve it like that, all nicely presented, and then you sort of serve, when you're sitting there with it in front of you, that's when you would like mix it all together. So you present it looking nice, and then you let the client, as it were, just smash it all together. Now I've got my wok. I've got about a teaspoon to a tablespoon of sesame oil. I'm just going to put in that wok. Now I've actually already got cooked spinach. Okay, what you would normally do is into that wok you would put your raw spinach now, okay, and you would then sort of wilt it using that sesame oil. Okay, so I'm just going to cook this through, and I'm going to add a little sprinkle of sesame seeds and a pinch of salt. So I think I might have mentioned, but the exact origin of this is a little bit unknown. Okay, they think it's essentially probably derived. I'm just going to turn that heat down because it don't need an awful lot of heat. This essentially derived from a time of ancestral rites when food offerings would all be just sort of all mixed together and served up in a bowl. Okay, sometimes on the eve of the lunar festival, commoners, so people aren't me, okay, we're trying to get rid of all the leftovers that they had, and thought, oh, that's all right then, we'll offer them up. Leftovers, isn't it? And so they chucked all the leftovers they had together, hence the reason it's a sort of form of mixed rice. Farmers would eat this bibimbap. It's really confusing because the way it's written, it doesn't sound like bibimbap. Farmers would eat this during farming season, okay, because it was the easiest way of just chucking everything in a bloody great pot, stirring it all together and saying, here you go, come up and have a bowl. So they could just serve lots of people really easy. It's been in records back as far as 1600. However, the first actual recorded, I think it's a bit low, the first recorded recipe dates from the 19th century. Okay, and now by the 20th century this bibimbap was beginning to get quite popular, and it was spreading not just in Korea but outside of Korea. It came over to the West, okay, because it's simple to make, cheap, because you're basically using whatever you got in the fridge, as it were, or in the cupboard, and delicious. So now I've just sort of cooked that through. Like I say, normally if it was raw spinach, just till it's all wilted down, so it looks a bit like that anyway, and then we're just going to scrape that out back into that bowl. So our next veg dish is courgette. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to thinly slice courgette. I might not use all this courgette because it's rather bloody huge one, isn't it? And what we do is, having sliced it, we cut it into quarters and chuck that in a bowl. Okay, these will be being cooked, but we're just going to do something with them first. Okay, so you might have noticed sort of the colours, if you like, and the reason for the colours is because this is quite a symbolic dish. Okay, so, and when I say that, it's symbolic partly because of the colours. So for instance, the black or dark colours, which is going to be the mushrooms, the shiitake mushrooms we're going to use, or you could use nori seaweed or something like that. The black symbolises the north and the kidneys in the body. Okay. Get that in there. Get a few more slices done, so I can talk while I'm doing it. So the red or orange, so of the carrot, there could be chili though instead, or it could be a certain type of date, yuhubi, or whatever date, I don't know how you pronounce that. Another one I can't pronounce. So that colour that represented the south and the heart. And then we've got the green, so we've got our spinach, and actually we've got our courgette as well. That represents the east and your liver. And then finally we're going to have some yellow, which will be the yolk of our egg. Let me just do a couple more slices and I think that will do. The yellow represents the centre, or your stomach. And then there's the white of the rice. He says try not to pat his fingers because he's not looking what he's doing. The rice, the white, sorry, that could be bean sprouts, it could be radish or rice, in this case it's rice, and that's associated with the west and your lungs. So there you go, that's the symbolism. Just going to get rid of that and I'll show you what we do with the courgette. So to those courgettes I'm going to take a generous amount of salt. Okay, I'm going to sprinkle that in there, and then I'm just going to mix this in together, and then we're going to set it aside for 5 minutes, at which point we'll need some kitchen paper, and we'll take that kitchen paper out, we'll take that courgette out and dry it off before we get to the cooking stage. I'm just going to put that there for a minute. I'm just going to wash my hands. And so the final thing we need to prepare, well actually it's not quite final, because we are going to add some spring onion garnish. So I still need to chop them up. But the final thing we need to prepare is our Shiitake mushrooms. And then we're going to start the cooking process. So I've got my spring onions. And all I'm going to do is just sort of roughly slice them, and then shove that into a bowl. And it says shoving it everywhere except the bloody bowl. Okay, and we're then just going to set that aside, and like I say, that will be a bit of a garnish. And I'm going to take my shiitake mushrooms and I'm just going to slice them up thinly. And we'll be getting ready then, like I say, to start the cooking. Don't be trying to escape in there. Okay, like I say, you can substitute tofu or some other kind of, you know, vegetarian protein if you want. It doesn't have to be meat. So you can make this vegetarian, presumably you can make it vegan, I don't know. In South Korea, they often added certain other sort of ingredients to get the colours, things like sesame seeds, and actually we're chucking sesame seeds in it anyway. So we'll just get that out of the way. So there's that, and all I'm going to need with that is some garlic, which I'm going to crush up in a bit when we come to cooking it. So we've got our rice cooked, we've got our beef marinated, we've got our Bibimbap sauce ready, we've got our mushroom sliced, we've got our carrots pickling, we've got our spinach cooked, we've got our courgettes. So apart from drying off the courgettes ready to cook them, we're just about ready now to start cooking and then assembling. Bloody good job, because I'm hungry and thirsty. So that's already drawn out quite a bit of moisture. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drain them out of there, put them onto some kitchen paper, and then we're just going to, just going to show you. Should have used the glass bowl. I've only got so many glass bowls, apart from the huge ones. If you can see that, that's how much moisture we've managed to get out of that. So I'm just going to take some more kitchen towel and we're going to blot that dry. Now, to cook this, we're going to need some vegetable oil, about 15 grams or a tablespoon of vegetable oil, and about 5 grams of sesame oil, which I've got ready. And then we're just going to whack the, actually I need another bowl thinking about it, because once I've cook that courgette. I'm going to need to take it out ready before we cook the rest of it. So this is where we're now going to need our wok, and we're going to add into that, like I say, those 2 oils. And then we're going to get that up on a nice high heat. And then we're going to add that courgette. So that's starting to spit and get hot. It's probably going to spit when I put this in. So in goes the courgette. And we're just going to cook that through. Now I should have perhaps cleaned that spinach out of the pan, but it's still green. Remember, this is our green bit. Okay. So just going to stir fry that for about a minute, and then I'm going to take that out of there, back into that bowl, and set that one side. Now I've sliced my shiitake mushrooms. I've got a couple of cloves of garlic. I'm going to need a glug of oil, and then we'll cook them. Okay, and then obviously the only thing left then is our meat, and we're done. So there's my sauce. Give that another little mix. The carrots are looking alright, the spinach is alright. Oh, and also of course obviously I've got to cook my eggs. So, just going to whack that up a bit higher. So, I'm going to get that out, and then we'll do our mushrooms. So, I've had another teaspoon of vegetable oil. I'm going to add a couple of cloves of garlic to it, and then I'm going to chuck in those mushrooms, and then we're just going to stir fry them through. I'll just remember to put that in there. I need that bowl to put the mushrooms in afterwards. So our final 2 things we need to cook after this will be our fried eggs and our beef. When we come to cook the beef, we will cook the beef at the same time as we're frying our egg. And like I say, what we really want is our egg nice and crispy, but runny. Okay, so quite a simple dish, but it's been quite hard work, right? Partly because I didn't get some of the ingredients ready on time. The spinach was frozen, French spinach, and I forgot to defrost it. So this is going to take a little bit to get these cooked. We want these obviously cooked nicely. So once I've cooked them, I'll transfer them to the bowl, and then we'll get on with the final 2 cooking things, beef and eggs. So there's a little bit of residual oil in there. I'm just going to add a little bit more, get that up to temperature. I'm also at this point, and you suddenly remembered, of course, I can't like that on a normal thing. I've got my little omelette pan, and I'm going to get that on, get that warming up, and like I said, we're going to now chuck that beef into there, and we're going to stir fry that beef through so it's all cooked. So there wasn't an awful lot of marinade, obviously. There's spinning it. But that should be enough. Okay, so I'm just going to stir fry that through, and then once that's got up to temperature, I'm going to fry my egg. So I've got a couple of plates ready to go. I need to get me ice. I need to get me rice. I haven't had enough wine, this one here. Can't get me the thing like I can, Let's get my rice out of my rice cooker. Turn the heat up on that, and we're going to start assembling. Now I've also kept out my sesame seeds because I'm just going to add a little sprinkle, bit of decoration. Alright, so get the beef done, or get my egg done, Bob's your uncle. So here we go, I've done my sort of bed of rice. I know you can't quite see that very well, but I think what I might do, because I think that beef is just about done, I'm just going to move that out of the way. My eggs are still cooking, getting nice and crispy underneath, or rather that one is. So I've got my bed of rice, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some mushrooms, and I'm just going to add some of my mushrooms to one part of my rice. Like I say, we're going to sort of like try and lay it out quite nicely, okay? But when you kind of eat it, we smash it all together. Alright, we've then got a courgette. I'm just going to pile my courgette to one side here. I'm going to leave the centre. I know the egg, the yellow, if you like, is the centre, but I'm going to put my meat in the middle. Okay, so then I'm going to take my spinach, and I'm just going to put my spinach sort of next to my mushrooms there, and then I've got my pickled carrots. That's right, I was thinking I've got something else going. I'm going to put that in that other little gap there, so I've got like north, south, east, west, with a bit of a gap in the middle. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to chuck the rest of that pickling stuff in there. Just get rid of that glove. My egg is just about done, so I'm going to turn that off. And then, actually what I might do before I do that, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to give my sauce a little bit of a stir, and I'm just going to add some of that into that little gap in the middle, and then I'm going to take my drained beef and I'm going to I'm going to place that in the middle. There's probably a little bit generous on the meat here, but the wife does like her steak. So put that over there. And then I'm going to take some more of that sauce, and I'm going to put that onto the meat. Probably going to destroy this meat now. She was like, okay, so on goes that. And then, finally, what we're going to do, turn everything off, I'm going to take my egg, I place my egg on the top in the centre, remember? I'm just going to sprinkle on some of them chopped spring onions. He said chuck them everywhere. And then I said what I was going to do, just for a final little bit of decoration, was a little sprinkle of sesame seeds on top. Now, what you would normally do, and it's going to be a bit difficult for me to demonstrate this, is you would now, which one looks nice? Which one I'm going to give to the one? Oh no, that's got more meat on it. I'll have this one. Just smash your yolk, let your yolk mix in, And then the idea would be to sort of mix all this together with your rice. So having presented it nicely, but unfortunately I can't really mix that too well like this while I'm sat here. So let's give the meat a bit of a go. So you've got cold carrot, you've got warm, everything else. Let's try a bit of that. Rice is perhaps got a little bit too cool, but warm. But really I need to get this all smashed together. Getting a bit of heat from the chilli. But I really want to give that a good old mix together. Get all them flavours together. But you've certainly got a little bit of the acidity from the carrot, the heat from the chilli, from the sauce coming through. And then you've got the old milder other vegetable ingredients. So there you go, Bibimbap, Korean mixed rice. I'm going to eat this now and drink some wine.